Alright, so let's start by creating a table that's going to be used to host or input the employee information. To create a table, I'd go to the Create tab in the ribbon, I'd go to the Tables group, and I'd use Table Design. Table Design will create a blank table as you see here, and now what we need to do is we need to list all the fields that we thought of in the field name column. In the lower right here it says a field name can be up to 64 characters long, including spaces. I would say don't get anywhere near 64 characters long, keep them short and don't use spaces. So the sorts of fields I'd like to input, for example, are employee ID. And then I just hit the down arrow. I want each employee to have an employee ID, and then I'm going to put title of courtesy. Again, no spaces, and then down arrow. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but you'll get there. First name, last name, job title, and so on. Birth date. And the last field we need is note. Now, if you see a mistake, I'm just going to arrow up to salary here. I'd press the function key F2, and then I just press home, delete the S, and put a capital S. Just remember F2 is a quick way to edit what you've typed without having to type the entire thing again. If you suddenly think, oh, I should have put middle name, I would go up to last name. You could either use this button on your Table Tools Design tab in the ribbon, which is Insert Rows, or you can just press the Insert key on your keyboard, and that will insert a row, so you can put middle name. I might want to insert initials. So it's easy to insert fields as you think of them. It's also easy to delete fields. Now I don't want to just press the delete key because that'll just delete middle name. I want to delete the entire row. So again I can use the delete rows button up here on my Table Tools Design tab in the ribbon, or I like to press Shift Spacebar, which then selects the entire row, and press the delete key. Shift Spacebar in Excel and in Access and a number of programs will select a row, and then I'll delete that as well. So I just put initials and middle name in there to demonstrate that you can easily insert and delete fields as you need to. Now the second column is called data type, and the data type has defaulted to short text for each and every field. Now short text means you can basically enter anything into a short text field, any alphanumeric information, and it'll be perceived as text. But when I look down here at the field size property, it's 255. If I click on the 255 and then look over here, 255 is the largest or maximum number of characters that you can put into a short text field. So a short text is going to not exceed 255 characters. When it comes to employee ID, I want to change that from a short text to a different data type. Now you can hit this drop down and see that there's a finite list of options. I want Access to automatically come up with a unique number for each employee, so that would be an auto number, and I'll change it to auto number. Title of courtesy is titles like Mr., Mrs., Ms., Prof, Doctor, so on and so forth. So that is text. I'm going to leave it as short text. First name I'll leave as short text. Last name and job title remain short text. But birth date is in fact a date. So I'm going to hit the drop down here and choose the data type date time, which will then make sure that Access insists that a date or a time is entered into that field. Now when I press the down arrow, I can just hit D for date time because higher date is also a date time. So you can go down this column just hitting the first letter of what you're after, because each entry has a unique first letter. The exceptions being auto number and attachment, in which case AU for auto number and AT for attachment. Or you can just hit the drop down. So addresses, short text, short text, short text, these are all short text. Email is a hyperlink, so I'm going to hit H. A hyperlink is blue underlined text that when you click it, it actually goes to a particular place or location. Salary is in fact currency, so I'm going to hit C. Married is yes or no. Dependents is a number, so I hit N. Photo is an OLE object, and note is long text. So there are various data types that you can choose from. Now let's look at them. Short text is alphanumeric information between 1 to 255 characters. Long text is also alphanumeric information, but takes an awful lot more than 255 characters. In fact, it takes 65,536 characters. So if I have a field and I want to, perhaps it's a hazard database, and I want to say what actually occurred, I'll think, now, is 255 characters going to be enough? It would be if I'm only going to put a sentence or two, but if I actually want to put paragraphs about what went down and what happened and who was involved, then I'd have to change it from a short text to a long text. So there's your difference. A number field literally will only take a number. So you can't make a field a number field and then try to enter a space or a dash or any sort of alpha characters. So a number field will only take a number. A large number, of course, is a very, very large number. A date or time field, in the case of birth date and hire date, will only accept a date or a time. It won't accept text and it won't accept a number. Currency is much like Excel. You'll type a number and it'll automatically format it to currency. An auto number is when Access randomly or incrementally assigns a unique number to each record and saves you having to come up with a unique number. A yes-no field is often known as a Boolean field. If you hear the term Boolean, B-O-O-L-E-A-N. A yes-no field is literally a tick box or a true-false box. They basically say yes or no. A OLE object, OLE is a computing term. OLE, OLE stands for an object that's linked or embedded. So it means you're not going to type text or a number or date or currency into that field. You're going to take an object like a photo or a map and you're going to link it or embed it into that field. An attachment we've discussed a hyperlink we've discussed, which is blue underlined text that when you click it you go somewhere. An attachment we'll look at. An attachment is when you want to attach documents. In fact, let's just do this. Under note, we're going to put documents and I'm going to make it an attachment. This document field is going to allow me to attach 0 or 1 or multiple documents. They can be Excel files, Word files, PDF files. I can attach a number of documents to that particular column or field. So with regards to the employee, for example, just to make up a scenario, it might be we want to attach to that employee's record their job description, their resume, their performance appraisals, their pay slips, any sort of information that pertains to that employee. That's what an attachment does. And lastly, a calculated field. If you want to do some simple calculations between fields, you can ask it to do that. And Lookup Wizard we'll be looking at with some of the other tables we'll be creating. Those are basically combo boxes or drop downs. So those are your various data types. Now you also have the ability to add a description, which explains what you're expecting people to type in a particular field. So for example, I'll ask them to press enter and do not fill in, because it's an auto number, so I'm not expecting them to fill that in. Access will be creating a unique number, whereas here I'd be expecting Mr., Mrs., Miss, etc. And that gives them an idea of what I'm actually wanting to type into that field. And then just continue to enter the descriptions for each field.